Well, welcome everyone to the Nerd Nook. I'm your host, Evan Teagle. With me, like always, is Noah Bailey. So, it's been a few weeks since this show ended, but we're finally here to review Miss Marvel, the latest Disney Plus Marvel show. What are your general thoughts about it before we get into any major spoilers? It's fine, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's fine. Like it wasn't my favorite. It wasn't the worst. It was okay.
Yeah.
Like
It,
it's
I so here's my general overarching feeling about this show. Essentially, if I think I feel like if this show had come out in 2021, like before even if it was like the first or second Marvel show to come out, I think generally people would have a lot higher feelings about it, even if it was the exact same show. However, because we're like six deep in these things, and every single Marvel show kind of has the same general faults of weirdly changing stuff from the source material, which I'm kind of okay with, but I understand people getting frustrated. That happens every single time. Trying to push so much stuff into just 6 episodes when shorter episodes but longer seasons would just benefit this kind of show so much better.
yes,
The
agreed.
villains being directionless or boring, and this show kind of both.
And coming out of nowhere again.
Yeah,
Like I was so confused. I was just like, huh? Like
because
why? Like they're like Eternals, but they're not. Like it's
yeah,
a I
uh,
just I
yeah. Well,
was
spoilers, whatever. We're gonna
we'll
go ahead and
get
get
there. We'll
into it.
get I just that was a whole thing.
I,
I was just like,
yeah, actually,
what?
I want to go ahead and just get
Yeah,
into it
just
because
rip the band-aid off.
you brought up the Eternals, which I think is a very good comparison for them versus the
Yeah, like that's the
clandestines.
vibe I was getting.
Because I feel like the reason the Eternals worked overall is because they at least had they had an aura to them. They at least had these distinct cool powers, these cool costumes. They had this larger than life feel to them, despite just looking like average people. As opposed to the clandestines, who their power is they can
Magic weapons, kind
magic
of,
weapons. That's
which are kind of sucky weapons also because they got bodied a
yeah.
lot
Like one guy has
for
a
no
club, one
reason.
guy has a whip, one
It's like a
person has a
whip belt
staff. Like
thing,
okay,
staff, like. And I think the most annoying part was like there are these ominous villains that basically got like Scooby Doo ganged. Like you know what I mean? It was like I mean they didn't even like I think for me, one of the most frustrating things about like the conflict was like Miss Marvel has a power set that theoretically could do some serious damage,
hmm
but like I think I don't know if she would like forget about it or what, but it's like they'll just be running away, and it's
hmm
like you could have punched the crap out of it. Like they're just like following him, and they're like I'm thinking like that chase scene in
Uh
Pakistan
huh.
or whatever, and they're like on this little cart coming after. I'm like slam them into a wall, run them into, do anything, pop their tire, like
Yeah, like
do anything.
you're
You
going
have
to
all this power.
you're going to weirdly change Miss Marvel's powers anyway, which again I don't really have an issue with. Yet you're really not going to utilize them in any meaningful way. Like I get that she's
No.
learning her powers, kind of throughout the show, and she's not used to what else she can do. But we already saw the wedding scenes. She decked three of them all at once and held her own decently
Yes.
against all of them. Yet, and she did make a wall halfway through the chase scene for them to crash into, but just do that behind you at any other point.
Yeah, it's like even before they got to that point, you could like they were surrounded, and I'm like, you can take them, like you
Yeah,
got this, like I'm not like they're like, oh no, I'm like, did you forget you could do that? Like you,
yeah,
what do you? I don't
and
like. I know
that
she's a kid, but like,
that chase scene really just exemplified to me all the issues with these villains because throughout for most of that chase scene I had to keep reminding myself, oh yeah, these are extra dimensional aliens. These aren't just normal people. They theoretically are these super powerful aliens, but they never show us any. like outside of like minor super strength and the ability to conjure these weapons, they don't have any energy blasts. Can't fly. They can't super speed. Just they're just people.
They're not really that smart either.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seemed like they were very like they were trying to build up these villains, and I'm like, I feel like with what we've been presented, Miss Marvel should have no problem with them. But then it's like, oh man, these villains are tough. It's like, and then they beat them at the last second, like in one move they could have done 10 minutes ago.
Yep.
It's like you could have done that. Like, first of all, the like I forget his name, but the like mentor Red Daggers guy,
Sure,
who died, did not need to die at all. Like,
no.
I'll save you guys time. I'm like, A, no, you won't. B, you guys were winning. Like that was kind of my thing. I'm like, you guys are winning. Why are you going to sacrifice yourself? You got this.
Yep.
But of course, forced conflicts.
And that's just another major issue with the show I kind of mentioned earlier. Both the Red Daggers and the Clandestines, we spent no time with before they were just gone. Like at the end of episode 2, we meet Kamran's mom, and then episode 3, like we spend 10 minutes with them, laying out their backstory, kind of like laying out why they're here, and then they're not in the show in that episode for a while. The wedding happens, and then it's like why isn't she helping us right now? We need to go kill her. Like what? Where does this come from?
I think it's like they went through 100, and it's like it's doing that thing where I always say it's like we have a lot of content time, but they're rushing the plot points because it's like we spent 20 minutes going over this like wedding, which again I understand representation and you want to see different cultures, but it's like I feel like if we're just having a montage of everyone doing various dance moves to ethnic music for 20 minutes, and then we immediately cut to like, oh, plot's happening. Like, shouldn't we see the plot happening more than the random? No, like more music.
If there was ever a show that didn't need like a big climax at the end of every episode, I feel like it's this one. The main plot of this show should have been her just dealing with getting these powers while also dealing with just like basic
they added
high school things.
Which is weird because like the way the first episode ended, that is exactly the kind of show. Like I remember watching the first episode and I was like, oh, it's one of those shows. Like,
that's fine.
This is gonna be like high school, because again the first episode is like, oh, the costume party and we're not cool and the mean girls and all this dumb stuff and whatever nerdy, like, and it's like, oh, it's gonna be like balancing that and being the cool kid, and then after the halfway through the second episode, that stuff is never brought up again.
Like I think the show would have been so much stronger if the majority of the show was her exploring her powers, trying to save people, while kind of in the background having the damage control people like doing their investigations, maybe then having run-ins with Kamala every now and then, but not like, like I feel like there doesn't need to be some big climactic battle at the end of every episode, and like have her, like this is truly exemplified in at the end of episode 3, her friend cousin person learns that she has these powers. Yeah, I feel like this is truly exemplified at the end of episode 3. The friend cousin person learns that Kamala has these powers, and then they go to Karachi, whatever.
Yeah.
And then, like, just randomly, like, I know if like the grandma like asked them to come there,
like insisted or something, but it's like you just can do that. You can just pack up and go across the world.
Like the mom,
doesn't she have
like
school?
That's exactly. It was just like a weekend trip, but like that was never discussed. Like I don't.
That's the thing. It's like, it was a significant trip because you can't just go for a weekend to the other side of the world. That's that's like a 20-hour flight at least.
Like if they said like spring break is coming up or just some contextualize it somehow, and then they never cut back to the two main characters they focused on in episode 1 and 2, Bruno and I can't remember her name, the friend. They never cut back to
Yeah.
them for 2 episodes, and then episode
Yeah.
6 comes around. It's like, oh yeah, these people are
They
back,
throw everything back here. Yeah. Like, what?
and like I I really liked the last episode because it focused more on the friends. It focused on the mean girl, like actually being part of the group, which I thought was
Yeah, they
was
having
cute.
an arc and like I like the idea when they were like working together, like, oh, let's all dress up and kind of throw off. Which
Yeah.
another thing I'm getting into, damage control is super incompetent.
Yes.
I'm sorry, that
Yes.
is like laughable. Like you guys got Home Alone like
Uh,
3 times. Like, are you kidding me?
but
Like,
that's the kind of energy I wanted from this show. Have it be more fun. Have it be more like this childlike wonder. Because like one of my favorite things about episode 1 was Kamala like constantly daydreaming, drawing. Like whenever
yes, I did
she
like that. I feel
like
like they forgot about that,
yeah,
which is
especially
weird. It's
like I don't think it really happened at all in episode 3, especially now when they were in Karachi. Like that was her main
and like
character moment, like her
yeah.
main character thing from episode 1 and 2, and then she just
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
like you
didn't.
forgot about like I guess you could imply like, oh, as things got more serious, she started to focus, but it's also like
I,
I feel like that would still be her version of focus would still incorporate
yeah,
that a little bit.
and the problem is like I really liked the friend group. I really liked
Hmm.
it's that guidance counselor guy. I would have liked to see more of
He
just
was great.
yeah, like just like
It's like
little check-ins with things that are going on at the high school, like having her sneak out at night to try and save people, maybe failing, maybe having a win here and there, getting more and more on the damage control's radar. You can still have Kamran be there, like with like essentially the same role, but like I don't know. I feel like at some point during the writing of this show, just like seemingly with every Disney Plus show, they had a very strong idea for what they wanted the show to be. And they had this other idea where like if they had more time, they easily could have done to a like either a season 2 or like like after a mid-season break or
more
something.
episodes or something. Yeah.
But then someone along the line decided, hey, why don't we just go ahead and do both? And because of that, both suffered a lot. Because again, this happened with Falcon Winter Soldier. The Flag Smashers were just super underwhelming compared to the main villain, which should have been either the government or John Walker or whatever. Um, Even Moon Knight, I feel, kind of suffered from this. For like
Yeah.
episode 3 and 4, you just kind of doing stuff, which again, just like with Moon Knight, I feel Miss Marvel escalated things to a degree that just didn't need to happen. Like you don't need these extra dimensional beings who are trying to consume our planet with energy. Like that's too much for what we're doing right now.
That's the thing. They were really bad at it. And it didn't make any sense. Like, I don't remember any of the villains.
Hmm.
They were bad at their job. They weren't compelling. Like
Yep.
it made no their plan made no sense. Like nothing about and then they tried and the thing that really bothers me is because like episode 5 is like the flashback episode kind of.
Yeah.
And they're trying to like make this more compelling. But I'm watching this and I'm kind of just like
Yeah.
okay, like it's weird because I'm watching this show and it kind of feels like I'm forgetting this is a Marvel show and
Hmm.
not in a good way.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
The CG was bad most of the time. It could have been a lot better most of the time.
I feel like it depending on like when she was making like the big gloves and stuff, it was like rough.
Yeah.
Like I like when she was just kind of like walking on the little thing,
Yeah, that
like the
was
little
fine. But the
that
very
was fine.
the
But
very
like,
first display of power, her just like sending out that one crystal into the crowd. Oh, that was rough.
oh
Oh
man,
no.
yeah, like anytime it was like something big or moving, really, it was not great. Like the only times it was like the shields were kind of but the like stepping and like the like platforms were
Hmm.
usually okay. But
Yeah.
like yeah, the whole like big arms, or like what was it, like catching the, like in the last episode, catching the like truck or whatever that was gonna hit the boat. Like
Yeah,
it was just like, I know this is a big moment, but man, that's
yeah.
distracting.
And I also feel like the last episode essentially, it might sound like a kind of weird statement, but the last episode kind of, it feels like it was written as if more happened in the show than what was shown to us, because
Agreed.
Kamala just like is an expert at using her powers now. Her
Yes.
costume was just completely made perfectly by her mom
Yeah,
off
like,
screen. Like,
well, that's the thing. It's like I remember going from 5 to 6 and like thinking I missed an episode or something, because I
yeah,
was just kind of like,
the the
huh? How
the
did we get
the
here?
popular girl all of a sudden like
She's like
wants to
super
think
nice,
like she a knows Kamala saved her and also is super nice now. Like,
like out of nowhere, and
yeah.
it's just like, what? What? No, you're me. Like, one of the things I liked about the first episode was
Mm,
that it was realistic.
yes.
Like, no one
Uh-huh.
cares. Like, I thought that was so interesting, because I was just like, oh, this is real. Like, no, like,
Like,
or like the scene with, like, we'll get to the, like, the family, but like the scene where like the friends like, just ask your parents, they'll say yes, yeah. And I was just like,
no.
oh, this is gonna be great. I remember literally pausing my TV and saying, oh, this is gonna be hilarious, and like turning it up.
Uh-huh.
And they're just like, you want to do what?
You
Is
want to
this
go
a
to a
joke?
party. It's like not a party, it's which the whole Avenger Con scene, I kind of feel like no one on in the production had ever been to a convention like that before, because
Oh
A,
no.
was it just like a free convention? Was like, cuz they didn't look like they got
Well,
tickets for
I
it.
mean, they had like passes, so like maybe they bought tickets of some kind, because like they did like scan or show passes or something. I
But
remember
when did they
that.
get those?
I,
Day
I
of?
guess off screen. I don't know, because I remember
And
they didn't get them.
like,
But
and
I
the
mean,
convention seemed weirdly small, just
yes,
in like,
it looked like it was in like a. It looked like it was like a school dance,
yeah.
and like in the gym, and they just had Avenger
And
stuff.
like maybe it's technically more so of like a local, like some like Jersey City like
Yeah,
local
but
thing put on, but like Avenger Con A should be a thing. Like that's like a, the whole premise of the Avengers video game, and I think should be a thing that exists in more modern media. Like, these heroes have been doing hero
are you
stuff
talking
for,
about real life? Or are you talking
no, I
about?
mean like in, no, I mean like, sorry, I mean like in it would make
No,
complete sense in the MCU. You know, these people have been
yes, for
doing
sure.
Avenger
They
stuff for
saved the
10
world
plus
multiple
years.
times.
So
Yes,
Avenger Con should have already really been a thing by now, but this is the first
100%.
one. I feel like it would be a much grander event. It's just kind of, yeah, it just kind of looked underproduced. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree, because it did kind of seem like, it sounds like they didn't want to use a lot of their budget early, and then
And
later
they
they were just
forgot
like,
to use it later too.
yeah, we forgot to like add it back in, but it's too late because we wrapped filming last week. So
Because again, like, I like this show has both simultaneously great and kind of terrible writing at the same time. I feel like the characters in the show are generally written very well, but the pacing and just what is happening on screen almost never made any sense. Like when the
no,
Nor portal thing opened up, the veil as they called it opened up. A, why did it look like that? B, what was it doing? C, why did it open up? And D, when the lady went to go like close it,
why did she turn to like
why, yeah, why did it,
like
why how was she able to close it but also transport her power into Comron? That didn't make sense.
no? And the thing is, you can't even really explain it, because like, how would you even explain that? I
And
mean,
then
like,
the
none of that
weirdest
made
part is
sense.
every single time the veil is mentioned, if you you know, for whatever reason are rewatching the show, listen, every single time the veil is mentioned or the Nor dimension is mentioned, it's conveniently mentioned in a way where the characters aren't seen mouthing the word the veil or the Nor dimension. I think the, but like the veil scene was probably something that like happened super late in production, so they had to ADR it in later.
Mm-hmm.
Like they didn't,
Okay, I
yeah.
didn't think about that. I'll have to check that out now. But
Like
probably, I
I
mean,
think
this
this,
does seem like something they had to like change some things around halfway through because it doesn't like a
yeah,
lot of things don't really add up at
because
all.
like I think Kamran getting those powers at the end was always like a thing that happened, but I think
Mm-hmm.
what happened to the mother to cause that was very different in the original script, so they had to like
Because it,
record
yeah,
around it.
because it really doesn't make any sense. Even the way we got it is kind of just like that somehow gave him powers because
I don't.
plot.
But why?
Like,
But why did it give Kamran powers when the mom didn't have any of those powers?
because he's special and we needed the typical Marvel. I have the same thing you have, but slightly
Mm-hmm.
different. And I'm just like, I remember I was really like, no, no,
They're doing it.
no. They always do this. Like it's I know it's not exactly the same, but it's pretty much the same.
Yeah,
And the CGI is just as bad. So I mean
yeah, and like you can also kind of tell that the again like I wouldn't be surprised if the whole Red Dagger subplot wasn't in the original cut because when Kamala calls that one Red Dagger guy, who again we didn't spend any time with the Red Daggers, the Sensei guy
no.
just died randomly. Like we spent like 2 minutes with him. Okay, he she calls him and he says something like, "Oh, I have a contact in the city. Get him to the docks. He'll be fine." We never see him. We never see that contact, so I guess that wasn't like important. Whatever. But also, like, I feel like that he wasn't even necessary. It could have just been, "Oh, Kamran got away." It's like it wasn't even necessary that he got to the Red Daggers. So I feel like I don't know. I there's a pretty good amount of stuff to like about this show, but just you got to ignore a lot of confusing and just downright kind of dumb bits of it. So like, I don't know. It's yeah, it's a little
It,
yeah yeah.
yeah, it's just kind of weird because it doesn't really make it. And it's like, and also like it was confusing because it felt like it had multiple characters that were the same character. Like
Mm,
the Red Dagger guy and Kamala, I thought were the same person for like a while, and I
mm,
was like, wait, no, he's not even there. Wait, but they kind of gave off the same vibe to me. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
like they were both dubiously in love with Kamala, I
Kind
guess.
of, yeah, and like and it was weird because it was kind of this like weird love square thing
Where
because
yeah.
you also had Bruno who was also like I don't know. It was a whole thing, and I was just kind of like, all right, we're just gonna force that. That's
But
fine.
that's
But
another thing. Like the relationships they did establish early on really didn't get expanded on any meaningful way because episode 2 happened and Bruno is told that he got into Caltech and he's like it's in California and he just kind of drifts off from there as if that's bad, but then is I get that it's because he won't be near Kamala anymore, but that's not like told to us directly. Their relationship isn't even then expanded on much more after that point for us to
no, it
feel
kind
like
of
that's the
just.
problem. I don't know.
I mean, it kind of does the thing where like I get kind of like how he doesn't get the girl, so it kind of works out. So it's kind of like he kind of sees she's interested in someone else, and he's kind of like, okay, I guess I'll
Mm,
double down. I don't know, but it's like I don't know. I guess it's just kind of done awkwardly, but again, it kind of works because again, high school,
yeah.
awkward like love triangle kind of makes sense. But like I don't know. I like that scene with the Galaxy Council. It's like this is the scene where he says, "Do you want to be a
Hmm.
Jedi?" or and I
Yeah.
was just like, yeah, there was a lot of references in this, but I feel like some of them were kind of corny.
Yeah.
Like some of them were kind of on the nose, like, "Oh, this is what teenagers are doing." It's like, "Oh man, who wrote this?" Like,
I did really like the that scene towards the end where like everyone is on TikTok or some equivalent of
mm-hmm,
TikTok, like talking about what happened.
Yeah.
Like that was a very fun sequence.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like I feel like if they had like this show was like Kamala and the family, that was such a strong connection. Like
And it was very believable.
yes.
Like you've seen those dynamics, especially the parents. The
Hmm.
parents felt very believable to me. Like
Yes.
especially the mom. Like that is like I've had those conversations with my parents,
Hmm.
and they're
And
like
like the dad was probably my favorite character in the show. Like he felt very down to earth. Like he very much was a traditional father, but like it was kind of interesting seeing how like the mom was very much so like, no, this is how we do things. This is how this faith works. But the dad is like, you don't actually have to do it that way. You don't actually have to like.
mm-hmm.
And like I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, because even at the beginning, he was like, "You don't really have to look at your mirrors every." You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
like if you don't stop praying for half a second, your food's gonna get cold. That's interesting. That's very fun.
that was kind of fun. I forgot
Yeah,
about that. But yeah,
but
I really like the family dynamic. The brother was a good bro.
hmm
I think he was good. I like the scene where he was like, "I'm what was it? Flashlight? No, what was it? I'm nightlight." And they were like, it's like
really,
told them yes. He's like, well, he said it. He always has his phone on speaker, and he's like, well, speaker's just so convenient. I'm like, oh my god, if that's not my
that's my mom. Yes,
dad, like,
we
that is
literally
the
gave
most.
my mom earbuds for Christmas one year, so she wouldn't have to
Doesn't
do.
you know? My mom refuses to use headphones forever, and it's like she'll go in the most like she'll go like the middle of the house
Hmm.
and have like a work meeting, and then be like not use headphones, and then be like, shh, I'm in a meeting. I'm like, you're in the middle of the house, like you can't just like pick the most populated area and be like, I need my privacy.
Hmm.
Like you could have got a room. There's an office over there. You could have got upstairs. I mean, there were options.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, but yeah, that I mean, it's such a parent thing. It's great.
Yeah, but like I really did enjoy the wedding sequence. Like I really did like watching that culture unfold on the screen. Like I felt that is very important. I just wish the show had focused more on that as well as her just like dealing with being a superhero while dealing with family and school struggle. But again, because they had to go to Karachi for 2 episodes, the family was not in it most of the time. The the characters like her friend characters I liked weren't really in it. They had to like wrap up the clandestine story super fast and kind of
Yes.
clumsily. It's just like, and then we finally got back to the city, and oh yeah, actually the DODC is the main villain again. When they should have been a more presence for more of the show.
Well, yeah, because like it was like the after credit scene of number one, and then they're like kind of in it
There's a
a
very end of
little bit.
episode 2, and then
Yeah, and then you
and
don't see them until the
at
last
the end of
episode.
episode 3 when they arrest the other clandestines, and
Oh,
then
that's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
clandestines break out very easily in episode 4, and then just kind of.
And what is it? Just me, or were there like two security guards?
Hmm.
Like I was so just like, this is it was like a max security prison. I'm like, I see three guards. Like, there's more inmates than guards is not a good look.
No.
But yeah, I just love how easily they all escaped, and I was just like, oh wow, who could have seen that coming?
Hmm.
Like,
I don't
and it's
know.
like we have to leave him behind. Why? Because he needs a reason to be a good guy.
Yep.
like,
But
like it
then,
was
but at the
so
end,
forced.
he's not really a good guy.
I
Well,
mean,
I don't know.
he's he's like a I don't know his reasoning didn't really make any sense either. Also, he
Yeah.
just kind of jumps in the hole. They never really explained that. They were like, "Was that did that hole lead to the docks or whatever the rendezvous
And the
point?"
damage control people didn't think to follow the hole. They didn't. No.
No. Well, I guess they got like called off. I don't know. That was a whole thing. Like that entire thing made no sense. Like I don't know. And also like the amount of time, like okay, like when they established that those like sonic guns or whatever
Hmm.
aren't lethal because people have gotten hit by
Right.
those.
But they blew up a wall.
Yeah.
Like they
That was
shot it
kind of my
at the
thing.
corner of the wall and the wall exploded. Like
Well, because
that
it
would
was
kill
funny
somebody.
because it was like they were chasing people and not shooting them. So I'm like, oh, the guns must be lethal. But then someone gets hit, and I'm like, okay, so the guns are not lethal. So wait, what do you like? Then why are you just letting them run away? I'm so confused. Like I don't. And
Yeah.
then yeah, they blow up a wall. They do all this stuff. So I'm like, I like like they were very like, and I know this is Marvel. We don't like you're not trying to kill people and all this stuff, but it's like. I mean, you gotta at least look like you're trying.
Uh-huh.
That just looked like you were just like you weren't even doing anything.
Yeah.
Like they
And
were, I mean, they were stormtroopers right there.
yeah,
Like that was rough.
they were. And like, I, it's also so weird to me how like episode 3, 4, and 5 spent so much time explaining exactly what the Bengal was, exactly where their powers came from, how her powers work, while also not really explaining any of it to the point where like
No.
when to so you're still confused, but like why does Kamala get these powers but none of the other clandestines do? Is it only if they wear the bangle? But Aisha wore the bangle. She didn't seem to have any powers. But whatever. To the point where like okay, so we know exactly why Kamala has this connection to the Nordivinch. We know, I guess we know how she has these powers. But then, oh, she also has a mutation that allows her to have these powers in the first place.
Okay, I need to talk about this because here's my thing. I knew this was coming
Yeah.
because everyone had told me this was happening, and
Mm.
I was like, okay, that's fine. But man, how this was done was so trashy. Like, that was so not needed. That was so
No,
like not at
I
all
don't.
needed.
I
You
don't.
could have just said she's magic. That would have made way more sense.
Or the bangle
Like
gave her powers, or the
it's
bangle unlocked her
fine.
Nor dimension
Who
powers, or
cares?
whatever.
Like I didn't understand any of it going into that point. So at that point, you could have just said it's magic, and I would have
Yeah,
just been like, okay, sure, whatever. Because like half the powers in this universe we don't understand anyway. So it's like I don't really need to know because I still don't really get how Moon Knight works. I don't really get how most things work.
yeah, that's
It
fine.
just kind of goes.
Hmm.
We just kind of say okay because it's comic books. But
Yeah,
then you're trying to like shoehorn this soft like universe expansion thing, and it's like, oh,
it's
that's lazy. I don't like
especially
that.
since like you know like Marvel Entertainment has now been like meet your first MCU mutant, Miss Marvel, when like
Ugh.
is Wanda not a mutant? Is Pietro not a mutant? Is like there are other characters? Hawkeye, is he not a mutant? Like
I
what
mean,
exactly makes
like,
them mutants? Like
well, that's my thing. It's like I get the Hawkeye thing, like sure, whatever, but like Wanda is a mutant. Like that's not like negotiable. Like that's canon.
or is it because she's a witch that's a different power? But
But
Pietro,
she already had. Mm,
but that was
uh,
witch magic. But but like I just assumed the Mind Stone somehow like enhanced their innate abilities.
I mean,
Maybe
I get
Pietro
it,
was
but it's
already a fast
like,
runner, so it just enhanced his speed. So is
I
he?
get it, but it's just
But
like I don't know. I see it's stuff like this where I feel like I get what people are saying with like Marvel fatigue because I'm getting to the point where it's kind of like they're trying to like I get you're trying to make everything connect, but I feel like you're hitting the point where you're like it's just lazy writing now because that makes
I
no sense.
I think my biggest issue with Phase 4 so far is the fact that every single movie tries to kind of one up themselves. Because, like,
Yes.
Black Widow, that was more grounded, and
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
But
And it was
Shang,
a prequel, so they didn't have to really like
yeah,
expect anything.
that's fine. But then Shang-Chi, opened up this, like, had the idea of alternate dimensions within this universe with that, like, that one hidden realm and then that one
Mm-hmm.
dimension that big dragon came from. Whatever. But then the Eternals, like, not only our Eternals
Jeez.
just been around, but also the Tiamat, that giant Eternal just came out of the earth and that hasn't been mentioned in a year and a half.
Nope.
Like that
Don't
didn't
talk about it.
inform anything in Spider-Man, even though this canonically took place before that. It didn't inform any. Like none of the Marvel shows have even mentioned that this happened. None of the other Marvel shows have or nothing else has mentioned what happened in Egypt and Moon Knight. They didn't mention what happened, like on Brooklyn Bridge when with Hawkeye making that giant arrow. I feel like, or now Miss Marvel is adding another dimension with other extraterrestrial things. I just feel like I don't know. I just feel like with each movie, they just feel like they need to go bigger. When after Endgame, they really should have like scaled back a bit because Moon Knight, Shang-Chi, and Miss Marvel are like street level heroes.
Mm.
So I kind of am I'm really scared that once they do get back into people like Daredevil, they're gonna try to up the ante even more. When like no, keep just fight Kingpin again. I don't care. That's all you need to do.
Yeah, stay like yeah. And that's the thing. It's like I feel like they're instead of rebuilding, they're trying to just reload and run it back. And I feel like it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna fall short. Cause like the reason like the first, the Infinity Saga or whatever is like that works because you spent the time building that up. But here it's like you're kind of just like new hero, new hero, new hero, new hero, new hero. Go fight something. Like you know what I mean? It
Hmm.
doesn't feel like we're like really adding and like and nothing's connected. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Everything feels like its
If
own thing.
if
When
there
you have
were
7 of these things.
any like major references to like major Marvel events in these other shows, like if they even had just like a wide shot of the planet and you just saw like a little bit of Tiamat's fingers or something, just like at some point in any of these shows, something from a previous movie like mattered. That'd be one thing. But like outside of Doctor Strange mentioning any something happened with Spider-Man a couple months ago in Multiverse of Madness,
Yeah.
nothing really has been connected, and that's just a little annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. It feels very like they're trying to just kind of just it feels very cash grabby. They're just content, content, content,
Uh,
content. But like it doesn't really like it's building to anything. Kind of they're just throwing stuff at you.
yeah,
Because by the time a show is over, a movie comes out, and then when the movie's over, a show comes out, and they just kind of keep
and I
throwing it
don't
at
I don't mind people like Thor or Doctor Strange just like having one-off adventures,
you.
but
No, but those
especially
are
go
yeah.
go
Sorry, go ahead.
go
But
go.
those are but they're already established themselves as like they can go planet saving mode at any moment. It's like
Yeah.
it feels like we're just doing a lot of origin stories again, which makes me feel like they're just trying to reshuffle and reload. And it's like I feel like that's not what we want to do because like lately, I mean, think about it, like Miss Marvel origin story, Shang-Chi origin story, Moon Knight origin story,
Mm-hmm.
Eternals origin story, like all like everything in Phase 4 outside of like
You could
Spider-Man
even argue
movies.
Spider-Man's an origin story.
Well, that's what I mean because like he basically restarts. So kind of yeah. Like
Like
granted, like I mean that movie's
Hawkeye is
great
Kate
for it.
Bishop's origin. Like Loki
Yes.
is basically a new Loki.
Loki's
Like
basically starting over. I mean, even Black Widow is kind of Yelena's origin story. Like,
yeah,
there's
huh?
so many like new like starting Falcon and Winter Soldier is kind of Sam's new origin story. Like, you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
I understand we're at a new point because Infinity War / Endgame happened, and we are
Mm.
in the post Thanos era. But it's also like we don't have to start from scratch, but at the same time, we don't have to like I don't know. It feels like they're trying to like make a new universe and not take the time to build it. I feel like they're trying to fast track getting back to ultimate Avengers level stuff, and it's
Right.
like I think you're gonna have to wait on that.
Yeah. Like, and I'm not one of those people that's like lamenting the fact that all of these movies don't seem to be building to anything because like Phase One, each individual movie didn't really seem to build to anything outside of
No,
the first Avengers movie. Even Phase Two, those movies didn't really talk to each other, and then Age of Ultron kind of ignored a lot of what
yeah,
happened
it
in
kind of
previous
just showed
movies.
up. Well, yeah, because my biggest gripe with Age of Ultron is the whole Iron Man 3 thing, where it's just kind of like I'm done.
I guess that
Also,
didn't
Tony
happen.
Stark.
Yeah.
Veronica, send in Veronica. It's like, oh, okay.
Okay, and like the only thing that really matters from Captain America Winter Soldier is that they get to fight Hydra at the beginning when that could be literally any shady organization. Like
Yes.
it doesn't really matter. Um, so I don't necessarily mind all of these projects not necessarily building to anything right now, especially since I know that Secret Wars and Kang stuff is going to happen down the line. But when each individual movie or show is individually escalating to a point where like escalating so much to a world-ending event that they have to fix in a very rushed amount of time, it can feel a little bloated even though it's not building to anything. It feels like each individual movie is getting a little too big for its britches when
Yeah,
that's
agreed.
never really been the point of the cinematic universe. Like you don't have to move so fast. Yeah, but
Agreed.
but overall, I generally did enjoy watching Miss Marvel. Obviously, I have a ton of gripes with it. I I felt like episode 6 was very very strong. Episode 1 and 2 were very strong.
Yeah.
I liked the wedding part of episode 3. Episode 4 was kind of boring. I liked the backstory
I,
of episode 5, but it didn't really seem
I
to matter. I don't know.
no, that's kind of what bothered me. You spent a whole episode on what could have just like what was a flashback like an episode or two ago. You had
Mm,
a whole episode on it. It's like I didn't learn anything new because it was like
no.
I was the one who hit the stars. I'm like, I could have told you that. Like, I mean, that was
Yeah.
pretty like
Like,
obvious.
it's either she did it or Aisha did it. Either
Yeah,
isn't
like
like that big of a
either
revelation.
way, it happened. No one actually cares. It
Yeah.
doesn't really matter. Like, it's not that big of a deal. And the thing too is like, who cares? Like you said, it doesn't mean anything. It does not have any overarching moment. So it's like you spend a whole and 5 is like a 40 something minute episode. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we don't really do anything. We didn't learn anything new that was substantial to the
Mm-hmm.
plot. All we learned is like I guess the backstory of a character who's not really a character. Like, I don't know. Like, and also, how did that even work? The whole time travel
I
thing
don't
in the
know.
first place. Like, that made no sense at all. Like, you just, because at the end of
Uh,
episode 4, it literally, they hit the bangle and then we're in the 40s. And I'm like, what? Like,
I guess Aisha, like, I don't know, casting that spell made her bangle light up, but then, and then, did that bangle in the past, which is the same bangle in the future, act as the second bangle that cause enough energy to open the Noor dimension veil, but also cause time
um,
travel to happen? But that time travel kind of spits in the face of the time travel that happened in Endgame because that didn't happen because that's a different timeline because Loki established that that is a different Loki. So, ah, yet this event had always and always will and always has been happening.
it's weird because it's like, yeah, like you said, there's different versions of time travel now. Because now we have the whole Savitar thing. You remember that where it was like this Barry becomes Savitar because Savitar
uh,
kills his idols, so he gets angry and becomes Savitar, which causes the entire like loop. And now
uh-huh.
it's like this Kamala goes and guides her grandmother as a child to her father so that they can go move to America, and then eventually that brings Kamala so she can go back in time to do this.
Mm-hmm.
All and it's kind of like okay, it makes the loop. But we established in both Infinity War and in Loki, that's not how time travel works. Not Infinity War, Endgame. That's
Yeah,
not how time travel works.
right.
But
But
apparently, yes, it is.
because
And
this
we
was
have
magic time travel, it was able to break the laws of physics.
well, so let me get this straight. Because they used a time machine and not magic, which
Yes.
is still cap because the Infinity Stones also kind of don't work that way. But
Yeah.
at the same time,
Yep.
I don't know. But then, are the Infinity Stones actually magic or are they just Infinities? I don't know. But
Like if
all
you.
that to say, they made that harder. Like they did all that complicatedness, and
Hmm.
like none of it was important. And I think that's the part that
Yeah.
bothers me the most. It's like if it was for something that really mattered to the story, I see you having to make exceptions and changes and stuff. But like this was not important
No.
at all. Like this did not change anything from
Like,
episode 6 or the rest of the
it was
story.
just a cool story that the family got to tell. You didn't need to waste half an episode showing that
No.
happening. It was like, yeah, obviously the Trail of Stars was something to do with the mangle. Like, we didn't need to actually see it.
You could have just guessed that. Like it was pretty obvious. But like, no, you didn't actually have to make the main character go back in time, which is totally not explained how she did it or got back, by the way.
Yeah.
But you still don't know. She's just kind of back later. So we didn't
Uh,
really I like which again I was like, what the heck? But I don't know. I had my issues with it just because there was a lot of things that didn't seem to add up.
yeah.
But
And
overall, not horrible.
yeah, I I enjoyed it, but I have a lot of thoughts and criticisms about really about the Marvel show structure as it is, because they need to stop with the 6 episode series.
It's
'Cause
not working.
no, like especially after watching my roommate and I have just been flying through The Boys. That show is so good. It's and literally like it's 55 to an hour episode. Yeah, each episode is like almost is either almost or is an hour long. And it's 8 episodes per season, and they use all of that time very effectively. So so by the time you get to episode 8 of season 1, like every single plot line of that season has been wrapped up. Everything is either explained or like left ambiguous on purpose. Everything like nothing feels rushed. All the characters are expanded on as well as they can be. Like it feels very full and very good and satisfying. Whereas here, they just don't have the time to expand on what they need to expand on, or they're trying to put too much stuff in there, making it so that the stuff they should be focusing on doesn't have enough time to get focused on. So I think this show could have been done in 6, but because they added the clandestines, should have been at least 8. Like that was I don't know why they are so focused on 6 episodes.
And it's weird because again, they didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't really need to be there, and I feel
Mhm.
bad because like, who cares? Like, I don't
Yeah.
know.
I don't know. I don't know. I like when Daredevil does come back, I fear that people are not going to be happy with it because they have the same problems this show has.
Mhm.
Something like Secret Invasion. I I'm very excited for the idea of a Secret Invasion show.
But yet, this format just doesn't.
Yeah. Like, are we going to have enough time to explore all of that effectively? I'm not sure.
No. Like, and they're gonna keep it very contained to one aspect, and like we're not gonna see how it affects the whole world. It's probably gonna just
Hmm.
be just one little thing, and it's like I want to see everything that's affected. I don't want to like. I feel like Secret, anything that should be like a movie or something. I feel like
Yeah, like that was an entire like half of the. Did you ever watch any of the Avengers Earth Mightiest Heroes cartoon show?
no, I
Okay,
didn't.
the scroll stuff was like half of season 2. Like it was like most of that second major arc was scroll stuff. Like you know, Avengers that you have followed this entire time turned out to be scrolls. Like it was a lot, and they used that time effectively. Just mess up the entire status quo of the show you've been watching this entire time, and like I don't think they're gonna do that. Like I can't, especially since they already kind of blew their load of having Nick Fury that we saw in Far From Home, that was actually a scroll. It's like okay,
Mm-hmm.
like they're not. I don't think they're gonna. I don't know how much they're gonna do that. Like maybe Rhodey, I could see being a scroll. Maybe no, that's about it. Like, I can't really. I don't really know of anyone else who's like
I mean,
important enough to become a scroll.
that's the thing. I don't think it's gonna be any of the actual heroes.
Yeah, and like any new. Oh,
Maybe
mm, mm.
maybe Bruce Banner might be a scroll. That could explain why he's like not Professor Hulk anymore.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's
Because that still hasn't
yeah.
really been explained, has it?
No,
Like, I know She-Hulk, we're probably going to hear about it, but I don't know. I could see that. Because that doesn't really make any sense to me either.
yeah, yeah. I don't know, and and also in like for Secret Wars, they've been announcing like new cast members and stuff, and like I just have to assume, oh, every new character they're adding, 90% they're a scroll. So like,
Well, yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, but like they know that you're thinking that though, so you assume they're probably gonna
Yeah,
play against that. But
I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see
we'll
with
see.
that.
We'll
But
see. That's what I'm saying. Like we'll see. It could be. It could still make. It could still make it work.
yeah, but whatever. Um, anyway, moving on. So at this very moment, as we speak, San Diego Comic Con is happening, but we're not going to talk about anything specific right now. We're going to wait until kind of a little bit later to do a full wrap up. Um, but one thing that uh, isn't technically Comic Con related, but like was announced during it, but it's not, which is a tweet while the show is happening. Uh, so kind of going along with their panel for X-Men '97, which we'll go in on more later. Um, Disney has announced that the X-Men the animated series that is on Disney Plus right now has officially been reordered so that the story actually makes sense now. Because the part of the reason why I kind of stopped watching was I got like 10 episodes in and already I could tell stuff is missing or like
Mm-hmm.
because I specifically remember after episode like 4 um I don't know at the beginning of episode 4 or 5 they're rebuilding the X Mansion because Juggernaut destroyed it. I was like, okay, I guess that happened off screen, but no, like 2 episodes later, that was the Juggernaut
Juggernaut destroys it.
episode. But so so yeah, they officially are reordering X Men so that if you're binge watching the X Men animated series before X Men '97 comes out, the story will make sense. So now I can finally jump back in and actually, enjoy myself watching it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's nice.
Yeah,
Um,
should have done it years ago, but
oh,
it is what it
they
is.
should have. Whatever. uh, speaking of X Men stuff on Disney Plus, the Deadpool movies and Logan are now on Disney Plus.
Yep. And if you like go into Disney Plus, it's like has that whole like rating warning thing
Mm-hmm.
now. Yeah, I found that out the other day because it was like your prescription is like your prescription only gets to TV 14. If you would like more contact, change your setting. I was like,
Wait,
well, we
what?
can't have that. So I went to my settings and like immediately was like, give me all the content, which is great because now that makes me feel like Daredevil could potentially stay in that zone of
Mm-hmm.
not for children.
Yep. If Moon Knight season 2 happens, maybe that'll be a little more brutal.
They could bump it up a
Um,
little bit, yeah.
yeah.
Deadpool could, which is,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, I think they should have done this a while ago, but I'm happy that it's happening now at least.
Yeah. I I agree completely. Um,
Yeah.
again, every single time the people making Deadpool 3 are interviewed, they have to ask, "Will this movie be rated R?" They always say yes, or not. They're not being held back by Disney as far as far as they're willing to tell us anyway. So it should be. It's full on, rated R, raunchy self, which is good. Um,
As
yeah,
it should be.
yes, because when my roommate and I were doing the X Men series watch through, Logan I think we found on Amazon Prime Video and Deadpool's are on Hulu. But it would have been nice just to have them all in the
Yes.
same place.
Yes.
But
That would have saved so much. I like how we did the after
yeah,
this happened, and then like we just did that like a couple weeks ago.
yeah, but whatever.
Fine.
fine. Yeah. Um, but yeah, last little bit of Disney news. Disney news I have right now. Um, it is heavily rumored that Giancarlo Esposito will be playing Professor X in the upcoming X-Men Mutants thing that's going to happen in the MCU.
Ooh, Don Carlo. That would be interesting. I would. I I could go for that. I
Yeah,
could go for that.
yeah. Like basically, my only requirement for Professor X is bald and someone who can command a room.
Yes.
And if you've seen him in anything, oh man, could that man have a presence?
Yeah, I think he's got that second one covered. I mean, the hair thing is definitely going to be worse than the command. Like, dude knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Whether it's like, I mean, whether it's a video game, TV,
Mm-hmm.
like
Because yeah, him
he
in
can do his
Mandalorian
thing.
was amazing.
Yeah.
Like he's definitely. I think I've only ever actually seen him be a villain in stuff, but like
Mm-hmm.
so like, I could also see him play Magneto if they wanted to completely change his origin story,
He'll
but
just
whatever.
play both.
Why not?
He'll be like, Charles, you can't believe this, but you must give them a chance to save humanity. Where was my chance, Charles? They never said anything. Like, I'd be here for it. I wouldn't even care. He could just cut to it. He's clearly just like,
uh,
don't even like cut to it. Just have him get up, put on the cloak. Like, I don't even care. Just, no, I don't
yeah.
even care. Just do it. Just do it. I'd do it.
Uh,
Like,
but yeah, like he
100%.
is absolutely one of those actors that needs to be in the MCU at some point.
Indeed.
So yeah, either
That would
Professor
be
X or
so.
someone like that. Sure, even
That would be great. And it would work.
yeah,
It would really work. Like, because again, yeah, he's not a white guy, but at the same time, dude, like,
he also wasn't British yet. You know, they got
yeah, like, it'll make it work.
like they're not afraid of changing Professor X's backstory, so
No,
it's
nor
fine.
should they be. Because
Yeah.
again, he is a phenomenal actor.
Hmm.
That is the only thing that should matter.
Yep. Like I've only seen him in villain roles, so like, do I think from what I've seen, would I rather him be someone like Doctor Doom or even Magneto or like some other like
Ooh,
you know crazy imposing villain like that? Sure, but Professor X, I think he'd be a good fit for that too. So have at it.
Madam,
Yeah,
please and thank you.
yeah. And if it's not
That would be
him, that's
awesome.
fine. I'm sure they're going to get someone perfect for the role. But I just want Giancarlo to be in there somewhere because again, he's heavily featured in The Boys season 2 as like the CEO of
Mm,
the of the like main company that's running things. I don't want to spoil too much, but like whenever he's on screen, he just has this presence to him that like I need more of him and stuff.
right?
Yeah.
I definitely agree with this move
Mhm.
if it does happen, of course.
Yeah. So, in other nerd news, um, Adam Scott, or Ben from Parks and Recreation, has
Yes.
officially joined the Adam Webb movie. So, um,
Interesting.
which the Madame Web movie has officially been delayed to October 2023,
Okay.
which is also fitting because originally both Into the Spider-Verse 2 and this were going to be both June 2023, but now they moved
They're fighting each
the
other.
worst thing out. Yeah. Um, I, I I don't know even what to think of this movie. I know nothing about the character in Madame Web. I just know they're getting a lot of crazy actors to be in this movie.
I, I think it's a cover. I don't even think that's the real movie.
Like,
I still stand by this statement. Like, I don't believe they're really gonna make a Madam Web.
I,
I don't even understand how that's even possible
but
without
like,
Spider-Man.
but
Like,
they have Sydney Sweeney from Euphoria fame, Dakota Johnson, now him. I think
I
some other like major character, some like major actors. Like,
I think it's a cover. I think it's
for
a
what?
cover. Anything. I don't know. I don't know, but not Madam Web. Like, come on. I don't know. random thought, but do you think Adam Scott would be a good Mr. Fantastic? Because I kind of do. I think I just thought about it.
Yeah, I mean, I also think he played a pretty good older Spider-Man.
That too. That too.
Like he plays a pretty good like
Older.
nerdy, yeah, nerdy character. So
Yeah,
like
nerdy adult.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I think
I don't think he is this universe's Spider-Man, but like if they want to go for an older Spider-Man, I think he'd be a pretty good pick. But
agreed.
but but yeah, like I think he. I mean, it's. I don't think there's many white famous people that don't look the part for Mr. Fantastic. Who are in their like 30s to 40s, but
Yeah, I feel like it's more the vibe though, because it's like,
yeah,
yeah, because like, yeah, I feel like he would fit. I don't know, but then again, I'm only basing it off of other things I've seen him in, which is literally just Parks and Rec. So
right. And have you seen Step Brothers?
he's in Step Brothers.
Yeah, he's the
I need to.
yeah.
Well, I need to see that movie again because someone quoted something from Step Brothers, and I was like, I don't get it. They're like Step Brothers, I was like, that's one of my favorite movies. How do I not? I don't know. How did I not get like?
Yeah.
I need to see that again because anything that's not Will Ferrell, oh,
John
gosh,
C.
what's
Riley.
his name? Yes, John C. Riley or like Catherine Hahn. Like I don't remember out of
Mm,
those. Like those are the things I remember. Everything else is kind of a blur.
right.
But I probably just need to watch that again.
Yeah.
Okay.
um. So yeah, I don't think it'll be a good movie because nothing from the Sony Spider-Man universe movies have proven to me that it will be good. But like,
No,
I like Adam Scott. I like Dakota
I do
Johnson.
like him, Scott.
So like, and apparently Black Cat will be in there in some capacity, which people are thinking Dakota Johnson will play her. I think that's a decent fit.
I
But
guess,
but like again, that character isn't
well,
that interesting without a Spider-Man attached to her. So like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, what if they want to use Black Cat still in like the MCU?
I
Like,
think
don't.
they should.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, don't ruin this. Like,
hmm
this is the perfect time that they could go like Peter, Harry, and Felicia or something, like
Yep.
or Gwen or either or.
Uh,
I don't know. Who knows?
but, oh well, coming out next October. So we'll see if it gets delayed again. Like I say delayed because like it was never coming out in June anyway. So like,
Delay. They're making themselves feel better.
yeah, like unless something is being announced right now at Comic Con, we still haven't gotten even like a screenshot from the Craven the Hunter movie. So who's to say that's even coming out? Like,
I mean, I believe that more than I believe Madame Webb, though. Because I mean, if they can do Morbius, they'll probably make
should they have? No,
pretty good.
but they did.
No, they shouldn't have. But to be fair, they shouldn't have made Venom either.
Yeah,
But I mean, we're past the they shouldn't do. We're
yeah,
more like, what will they do? They
yeah.
should just pack it up and go home.
Yes, just give Spider-Man back to
give
give
Spider-Man
it
his
back.
villains back.
Yeah.
Like that's not cool.
Speaking of people making things that they probably shouldn't, um, have you what what is your background with the anime Death Note?
I've seen it.
You've seen it? Like, have you seen like all of it, or you just
I've
know of it, or
seen pretty much all of it.
okay? Did you ever watch the Netflix live-action Death Note movie?
Nope.
It's bad. It's so
I don't
so bad.
like I just anytime Netflix is like, oh, this is an anime, let's make it live action. I immediately just say that's a no for me, dog.
Uh-huh.
100,000%.
Yep. Um, well, apparently the guys, the Stranger Things guys, are making a Death Note show for Netflix.
Wait, Netflix is doing Death Note again?
Yes.
No,
I mean, Stranger Things is apparently a good show.
no, that does.
I mean,
I don't. That doesn't make me feel better. I understand that Stranger Things is excellent. However,
honestly, I think the biggest crime, really in film history, is the fact that Willem Dafoe played. Um, oh no. Oh dear. What is that? What is his name? What is his name? Oh no. I'm blanking on the on the demon's
Do it.
name.
You can do it.
Um, Ryuk.
There it is.
How do I do that anyway?
I was like, I know you know. I'm not gonna.
The fact that Willem Dafoe played Ryuk and he was perfect for that role, and he was the best part of that movie. But he was in that movie.
That's what I mean when I mean like actors can't save a movie. Like
Yeah.
I
So
love the. I think he did. I mean, I'm sure he did awesome.
he did.
But like,
I think he should run it back for this show as well. Just let him do it.
yeah, I mean, he wasn't the problem, I'm
Yeah.
sure. But I mean,
Like, have no other
ugh,
actors from that movie come back except for Willem Dafoe. Just do it.
ugh, good gracious, I
And
can't
like, it's
believe
not
it.
even like that weird for like long running franchises to carry over like only like one or two voice actors. Like every single time there's a new Transformers show, Peter Cullen comes back to play Optimus Prime. So
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, why not just have Willem Dafoe play it? We'll understand.
Yeah, I mean, especially nowadays, we're in more of an age where people like specific actors get more love.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like there's a definitely a good possibility of that.
hmm But
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 no,
regardless, I think
no,
Netflix shouldn't touch
no,
Death Note
no.
anymore.
Netflix needs to stop taking anime and thinking, hey, you know what would be great about this anime? Making it real people.
No,
No, that's not a thing. Don't
no.
do that. Stop
They're
it.
making a
No.
One Piece thing like soon. I'm like, don't do One Piece like that. What are you doing?
No. One
People,
Piece was not made to be live action,
no,
like at all. There's no way that like no, that's not how is that gonna work?
not gonna look good.
That's gonna look terrible. Like no, keep it animated. That like
hmm
ugh.
Whatever.
I don't know.
But
I don't know. They're consistent because like they should have stopped doing this years ago, but
yeah,
they're still trying.
because Death Note, the movie came out in 2017.
It's that old?
Yeah.
Dang, I didn't think it was that old.
hmm Yeah. um, but speaking of things that should be kept animated,
Oh no.
um, apparently both Foster's Home for Imaginary Kids and the Powerpuff
That
Girls are getting
makes no.
animated reboots. Are getting animated reboots.
Okay. Okay. I was about to flip my. I was like, of all the shows that can't be done live action, I don't know how you're gonna do Foster's live action. I was about to
No.
flip
No.
out. I was like, all of the characters are literally made up.
Yes.
There are two humans and everyone. No, well, three humans and everyone else is literally random cartoon creations that you couldn't even attempt to
Is
try
the
to.
rabbit butler an imaginary friend, or is that just a rabbit
Yes,
butler? It is okay.
I believe the rabbit butler is the old lady's imaginary friend.
Okay.
I believe,
Okay.
and then the rest are just like adopted ones from wherever. I guess
Okay.
the blue is Max, obviously, but
Yeah.
yeah, everyone else is like, dude. I just okay. So
mm
like,
mm
I get that like things are I guess original ideas aren't always great, but like, why are we? First of all, Powerpuff Girls already had an animated reboot like
Yes.
recently.
It was kind of bad too.
Yeah, but they're doing it again.
Yes. I mean, the
Why?
original creator is now working on these shows, so
I mean,
there's that at least.
I guess, but like, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like if a show, unless there is a significant outcry for a show to be continued
hmm
or brought back, I see no reason to
Like
do
a
this.
like a like a
It's
Teen
like
Titans should probably come back, or
right, like
like
a
yeah,
Well, Teen Titans always annoyed me because they had all the resources. They just made a new show, and I was just like, you
correct.
monsters. But
Mm,
yeah, like a Teen Titans or a Spectacular Spider-Man or like Clone Wars when it happened
yeah.
was a big deal. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, that matters. Like that's it. But it's like I don't think anyone's like because I feel like Foster's ended. If I remember correctly, no, I don't remember how it ends. I don't know, but like I don't remember it necessarily being a cliffhanger ending. Granted, I don't know. I know they had a couple of movies,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like if they were like, "Oh, Ed, Ed, Ed needs a remake," even though the movie kind of ended it perfectly.
Mm.
And it's like, no, I don't think it needs a remake. I think it needs to be left alone, and you just need to make something up yourself. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like original content is needed. Like, I don't know. It's like I don't get the point of bringing back shows that are not needing to be resurrected. But maybe it's for the money. Maybe it's
It's for the
for,
money.
yeah, I know. But I mean,
There's no war. It's for the money.
no, there's no. I mean, and again, if it's the creator, it's his thing. So I mean, I can't tell him he's doing it wrong. But
Yeah, like there's still no word of if that CW Powerpuff Girls is still happening, but at least an animated one that's you know at least probably gonna
is
be
it
pretty
bad that
faithful.
I mean, I really want the animated one over the, like, I don't want either, but if I had to pick one, the animated one
I
a
mean,
thousand times.
yeah,
And the
because
live
animated
action
things are
just,
usually better.
yeah, well, I mean, but Powerpuff Girls doesn't translate at
You're right.
all.
Yeah, yeah.
They're basically like super. I mean, they're superheroes with ridiculous powers.
Uh-huh.
You can't even do that with CW. I mean, Super DW can barely do Superman, so it's like,
Yeah.
how are you gonna do the Powerpuff Girls? Like, I don't know, but it's fine. It's everything's fine. That's horrible, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh well. I mean, these projects are probably a few years out, so
Yeah, but they shouldn't be making them at all.
yeah. Yeah.
But who am I to judge? Maybe
Anyway,
they'll be good.
yeah. The last little bit of news I have. Would it surprise you at all if I told you that an Avatar, the blue people, an Avatar production has been delayed?
Wait, is the new movie delayed?
No. The Avatar video game that Ubisoft was making has been delayed to at least late next year.
There was a video game.
Yes, it was announced at E3 2021, I believe. Um, I think it's called like Frontiers of Pandora or something like that. It was apparently on their schedule to be released this year, even though we've seen nothing of it for over a year now. But it's been delayed over a year to next fall, at least. So,
Eh, eh. I don't. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the game could be interesting, but I mean, I'm still on the board of why are they making the sequel to the movie? But
yeah,
I mean,
well,
I don't know. I still think it's gonna flop. I still do. I don't know.
I don't
I
think
don't
it'll.
think it's gonna like flop, but I don't think it's gonna break a billion by
I,
any means.
no, I don't, because like there can't still be that many like actual Avatar fans.
No. Well, I know one guy says it's his favorite movie, and I was just like, really? I need to
Okay.
show you a lot of movies because it sounds like you've only seen 3 movies, and one of them was like the Dish Network How to Use Your Remote movie. Because good gracious, man!
hmm
But I don't know. We'll see.
Yes, I mean, I don't know. It's one of those games that Ubisoft has had the license for since the first movie came out, and they just kept kind of sitting on it. And now I think it's what I wouldn't be surprised if it's one of those things where like they essentially have to make it to keep the license.
Probably,
Yeah,
probably.
but whatever. It's coming out next year, maybe. But well,
Yeah, I mean,
I,
and
I just find it funny that an Avatar project is getting delayed. It's like not even news at this point.
who would have thought? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's all of the non-Comic Con news that I have today. Do you have anything else you want to bring up or discuss?
Harley Quinn season 3 comes out on Thursday,
Yep.
so that's really great. 10 episodes. It's gonna be the whole once a week thing, I believe,
Mm.
just like they've been doing with other stuff. So I mean, 10 episodes. That's going to be a while. So
Yep.
hopefully, it goes. Hopefully it goes and continues and being really good. It ended. It had a really good ending spot for the second season that I'm
Yeah.
kind of going back and rewatching. So I'm interested to see how it goes. But
Mm.
yeah, we'll see how this happens.
Yeah. Like I said, barely like in probably a couple of days we'll do a like full-on Comic Con recap because already there's
Oh
been
yeah.
some cool stuff announced. Um, so yeah, look forward to that. I know I am, and we'll
Oh
see
yeah.
you all next time.
Take care.